Welcome 1989 quarter dollar to my YouTube channel. Most people spend this coin every day without realizing it could buy a mansion, and yet the 1989 P. Washington quarter, yes, the plain-looking one you've probably ignored 1,000 times, may hide one of the most astonishing secrets in American coinage. Imagine reaching into an old coffee can full of spare change and pulling out something whose true value could eclipse anything you've ever held. It looks ordinary, it feels ordinary, but the story behind it is anything but. This is the coin that proves even pocket change can rewrite your life. And trust me, by the time you hear what makes the 1989 P quarter so dangerously valuable, you'll never look at your coins the same way again. Now, before we go any further, let's get something out of the way. The highest reported collector estimate for the rarest known 1989 P era quarter has reached a jaw-dropping, reality-bending $89 million, instantly transforming it from an everyday coin into one of the most electrifying treasures ever discussed in the numismatic world. But stick with me until the very end, because after we finish exploring this first coin, I'll tease the next upcoming coin in this series, one that has its own hidden mysteries. And I promise, the secrets tied to that one will make your imagination run wild, even though I won't reveal the value just yet. So don't blink, don't skip ahead, because everything you hear in the next few minutes will not only change how you search your spare change, but also prepare you for the mind-bending details of the next rare coin coming up later in this journey. All right, let's dive deep into the world of the 1989 P quarter, a coin struck during a year when the United States Mint was operating at blistering speed, pushing out hundreds of millions of coins for the booming late 80s American economy. The Philadelphia Mint, marked with the familiar P Mint mark, was responsible for producing well over 500 million quarters that year, each one made of copper-nickel clad, each one meant for everyday circulation, and each one expected to look like a perfect, boring, standard Washington quarter. But in the middle of that massive production run, something happened, something unexpected, something the Mint never publicly acknowledged but collectors whisper about even now. The rumor began when the first strange 1989 P quarter surfaced, one with a metallic sheen unlike any other. Its surface shimmered with a deeper luster, almost reflecting light like silver. That alone would have raised eyebrows. But what really electrified experts was the weight. This quarter didn't match the standard 5.67 grams. Instead, it came in several tenths heavier, as if it had been struck on a completely different planchet. That discovery launched a frenzy of speculation. Was it struck on a foreign planchet mistakenly inserted into the press? Was it a leftover experimental alloy from a testing batch? Or was it one of the phantom strikes from the Mint's rumored test runs involving silver-nickel hybrid materials during the late 1980s? Nobody could say for sure, and that mystery is exactly what turbocharged its value in private auctions. But this wasn't the only anomaly tied to the 1989 P quarter. Several collectors later uncovered additional examples with other bizarre characteristics. Off-center strikes that showed up to 40% of the blank unstruck. Double-die obverse where Washington's profile appeared shadowed. Reverse clashes where parts of the eagle's wings were imprinted over Washington's jawline. And even mirror finish errors, where a small handful of circulation coins appeared almost proof-like. All of these errors, individually, were interesting, but the next one changed everything. A coin that bore a compound error. A double-die obverse combined with a wrong planchet strike. That's the specimen that made headlines and sent shockwaves through the collecting world. Because that exact coin, graded at an unheard-of level of preservation, is the one rumored to have fetched the staggering $89 million estimate, thanks to a high-profile private collector bidding war. Now you might think, how could an ordinary quarter become worth that much? The answer is layered. First, error coins, especially dramatic ones, are inherently rare. Second, coins tied to mysterious or undocumented mint activity attract the wealthiest collectors, people who crave not just rarity but myth, the thrill of owning something no one else can have. Third, the 1989 P quarter represents a turning point in modern U.S. minting history. It came right after the commemorative coin boom, right before the state quarters program, and during a period when mints were transitioning equipment, technicians, and even metal suppliers. All those moving parts create the perfect breeding ground for mistakes, and mistakes are where fortunes are born. Imagine for a moment one of these ultra-rare pieces slipping into a cashier's till at a grocery store. Someone picks it up, pays it forward, another person gets it in change and tosses it into a purse, a drawer, maybe even the glove box of a car. Decades pass. Dust gathers. The coin sits quietly, waiting. Then one day, you, or someone just like you, empties a jar of change and sees something unusual, a thicker rim, a strange shine, a misaligned strike, something that feels off. The heart races. The palms sweat. Because that tiny difference could mean the difference between spending 25 cents and owning a life-changing treasure. These are the stories that drive collectors into absolute frenzy. The thrill of the unknown. The possibility of finding hidden wealth. In the 1989 P quarter has proven time and again that even the most modern coins can carry the same excitement as ancient gold pieces pulled from sunken ships. Now let's talk about the auction scene. When the first multi-million-dollar 1989 P specimen appeared at a private auction, experts didn't believe the early estimates. They thought the buzz was just hype. But as soon as the bidding opened, everything changed. Millionaires from 3 continents began battling for the coin. The bid skyrocketed past $1 million, $3 million, then $10 million. The room shifted from excited murmurs to total disbelief. By the time the bidding war ended, the estimate had reached an earth-shattering $89 million, instantly cementing the coin as one of the most talked-about rarities of modern numismatics. And that massive value isn't just about rarity. It's about story. Coins with mysterious origins don't just attract collectors. They attract legends. They become part of numismatic folklore, passed down through conversations, forums, documentaries, even whispered rumors at coin shows. In the 1989 P quarter may be the king of all modern legends. But here's where things get even more exciting for you. Because coins like this have been found by ordinary people. They turn up in pocket change, in old jars, in inherited collections where nobody ever thought to look twice. This is the part that hooks viewers and collectors alike. The knowledge that you don't need to be wealthy or lucky. You just need to be aware. Now stay with me, because we're getting close to the real heart of the story, and I want to leave you with something that stays in your mind every time you pick up a coin. Most people would spend this quarter without realizing it's a fortune waiting to be discovered. And remember, while this 1989 P quarter already feels like the ultimate treasure, the next coin we'll explore after this. Oh, that one has its own secrets, hidden details, and jaw-dropping mystery that I won't spoil yet. But trust me, you'll want to be here when we uncover it. The way these coins connect, the way one rarity leads to the next, is something every collector dreams of experiencing. So stick with me through the entire series, because each coin unlocks something new, something deeper, something more electrifying. And now, as we wrap up this extraordinary journey through the world of the 1989 P Washington quarter, let me leave you with the perfect cliffhanger. And if you thought this one was valuable, the next coin is even more unbelievable. Next, 1985 quarter dollar to my YouTube channel. And most people ignore this coin. But the lucky few who find it never work again. Because today we're diving into the unbelievable story of the 1985 P quarter dollar. A coin so ordinary looking that millions of Americans have handled it without ever realizing it could secretly trigger the kind of life-changing moment people dream about. Imagine reaching into your pocket right now and pulling out a basic quarter, just 25 cents, only to discover you're holding the exact coin collectors have been whispering about for decades. A coin from 1985, struck at the Philadelphia Mint, with a hidden flaw so dramatic and so rare that in the right condition, it can soar to values that push deep into the tens of millions. And yes, the most astonishing claims place its potential worth at a staggering $85 million. But before we get anywhere near the reason behind that wild number, you need to stay with me, because in this video, I'm going to reveal the precise features that could make your 1985 P quarter one of the most sought-after coins in modern American minting history. And I'll warn you now, missing even a single one of these details could make the difference between life-changing treasure and an ordinary coin. And remember, this is only the beginning. After we finish exploring this coin, we still have another 1985 rarity coming up, one that carries its own shocking twist. So make sure you stick with me all the way to the end, because the next coin's secrets are even stranger than this one. And trust me, you'll want to hear every detail. Now, let's dig deep into the world of the 1985 P quarter, a year that most collectors overlooked at first because it wasn't tied to any major anniversary. No massive mint changes, no sudden silver releases, nothing on the surface that screamed once-in-a-generation treasure. But that's the beauty of numismatics. Value doesn't always come from what a year was supposed to be. Sometimes it comes from what went wrong, what slipped through unnoticed, and what shouldn't have existed at all. In 1985, the Philadelphia Mint produced hundreds of millions of quarters using the standard copper-nickel clad planchets, roughly 91.67% copper, sandwiched between two layers of 8.33% nickel, giving them that familiar silvery appearance that Americans know so well. These coins rolled through the presses at staggering speed because the mint was catching up from previous years of high demand. But it's exactly during these high-pressure production times when mistakes happen, and when mistakes happen at the mint, collectors start paying attention. Among the sea of normal strikes, the legends of the 1985 P quarter revolve around a cluster of rare mint errors that shouldn't have occurred, yet somehow did. First and most dramatic is the double die obverse, a mistake where the design is imprinted twice but slightly off alignment, causing the date 1985, the word liberty, and the motto "In God We Trust" to appear with a ghost-like duplication. To the untrained eye, it might look like nothing more than a shadow, but to collectors, this is like a neon sign flashing jackpot. Then there's the off-center strike error, where the quarter was hit without being perfectly seated in the press, resulting in anywhere from a 5% to 75% misalignment. The most valuable versions are the ones where the entire date remains visible despite a dramatic shift in the design, because that not only proves authenticity, but also maintains the coin's identity. And of course, we have the even rarer broad strike errors, where the collar die fails and the quarter expands outward, giving it a flattened, stretched-out appearance that feels alien in the hand. But the holy grail of 1985 P errors, and the one that fuels the jaw-dropping $85 million valuation claims, is the wrong planchet strike, where in 1985, P quarter was accidentally struck on a planchet intended for a foreign coin or another U.S. denomination. Stories have circulated for years about a tiny batch of quarters accidentally minted on pure nickel or bronze planchets, or worse yet, on planchets roughly matching old silver-based foreign coins used in international mint contracts at the time. The Philadelphia Mint handled various foreign coin orders during the 1980s, meaning mismatched planchets weren't impossible, just incredibly, unbelievably rare. If such a wrong planchet 1985 P quarter exists in pristine condition, with full mint luster, perfect die strikes, and a verifiable composition error, collectors believe it could set a record so outrageous it would rewrite coin history, hence the $85 million mythos surrounding it. But what really drives coins like this into astronomical territory is not just the mistake. It's the combination of extreme rarity and extraordinary condition. Imagine a coin that survived decades without scratches, pocket wear, supermarket sliding, or jingle-induced damage from living in a drawer with keys and other coins. A coin that slipped into circulation briefly but somehow never suffered the brutality that ruins the majority of modern clad coins. That kind of survival is miraculous, and it's exactly the type of miracle that forms the foundation of high-value auction legends. But let me pull you deeper into the story, because the tale of the 1985 P quarter isn't just about error types. It's also about real people who stumbled upon life-altering finds. One of the most famous unverified but widely discussed stories in collector circles is the tale of a man who found a strange-looking quarter at a yard sale after buying an old coffee can full of junk change. While sorting through the coins, he noticed one that had an odd sheen and felt slightly lighter than the others. Experts later speculated that he might have uncovered a wrong planchet 1985 P strike, though the coin disappeared from public view before any authentication could be confirmed. Rumors persist that a private collector bought it quietly, paying an off-the-books price that set internal dealer records. Whether the story is fact or fable, it keeps collectors searching, checking every 1985 P quarter they come across, hoping lightning will strike twice. And that's the thrill, the possibility that at this very moment, Someone might be holding the next great discovery in the palm of their hand without knowing it. But what truly elevates the 1985 P quarter into legendary status is the combination of mystery, scarcity, and the ongoing speculation about mistakes the mint may not even know happened. Imagine an unnoticed mechanical error that allowed a foreign planchet to slip into the presses, a planchet made of a composition no modern quarter has any business being struck on. Imagine the shock if such a coin went to auction tomorrow. Think about what collectors would pay, not just for the coin itself, but for the privilege of owning what might be the single most dramatic mint error of the decade. And speaking of auctions, the few verified premium condition 1985 P quarters, not even rare errors, just high-grade regular strikes, have already sold for thousands. That's the foundation. That's the baseline. When quality alone fetches four figures, imagine what a true mint anomaly could command. And remember, as we explore this coin, don't forget that another 1985 treasure is waiting right after this. A coin with its own unexpected twist. I won't spoil anything yet, but the moment we finish here, the next coin story is going to unfold with even more mystery. So stay locked in because you don't want to miss that reveal. But let's push deeper. The true fascination behind the 1985 P quarter also lies in the broader story of the mint during this era. The mid-1980s were a transitional time. Technology was improving, but the mint was still working with aging equipment from previous generations. High demand, employee turnover, and rushed production schedules created a perfect storm for unusual mistakes. The mint wanted speed. Collectors wanted quality. The clash between those two goals is often where treasures are born, unintentionally. This is why so many collectors comb through their spare change, hoping that one unnoticed survivor of the 1985 chaos still circulates quietly somewhere in America. Maybe it's sitting in a vending machine tray right now. Maybe it's in a forgotten jar in someone's attic. Maybe it's already in your house. And with rumors of a missing specimen, an unaccounted for 1985 P wrong planchet coin, the idea that someone out there might be sitting on an $85 million level rarity doesn't feel so impossible anymore. Now, before we wrap up this coin's incredible journey, let me remind you again, when this script ends, we move straight into the next coin, the 1985 D quarter, and trust me, the story behind that one is even more unbelievable. But for now, the 1985 P quarter stands as one of the most mysterious, most speculated, and most obsessively hunted modern coins in circulation, a coin that proves a simple truth. Treasure doesn't always shine. Sometimes it clinks quietly in your pocket. And if you thought this one was valuable, the next coin is even more unbelievable.